All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome for dividing integers. What you're going to notice is that our rules are actually going to be the same. So the essential question is the quotient positive, negative, or zero? Really, you just got to remember what we did in lesson 1.4 with multiplying. So less you have to remember for multiplying and dividing. So same signs. Quick refresher again for multiplying and dividing. If the signs are the same, the answer will be positive. But if there are different signs, the answer will be negative. So pretty much the exact same thing for multiplying and dividing. So we're just going to do a few quick normal type questions, and then we'll get into some that are a little bit more complicated. So for example, 1, a 28 positive divided by a negative 4. Well, the signs are different, so that does mean according to the rules, I'm going to get a negative answer. And just quickly dividing, it's negative 7. Where on example 2, I have a negative divided by a negative, so therefore same signs, and I get a positive answer. Being careful in your division, you get a positive 7. So kind of the basics out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the ones that are just a little bit more complicated, and that is evaluating. Now for evaluating, hopefully you've had experience with this in elementary, we're going to go ahead and do some substitution and then really practice our order of operations. So according to this, let me change it to pen. It means 12 multiplied by y squared, and y is a negative 3. And then we're going to divide by negative 6. Excuse me. So it's going to look something like this. 12 multiplied by y is negative 3, we square it, and then we divide by negative 6. Now, according to order of operations, we remember we are going to start with our parentheses first. There's nothing inside the parentheses that I can simplify, so I'm going to move on to my exponents. So if I do my exponents right here, again, that's what we just talked about in lesson 1.4. It really means, let's see if we showed it. Yeah. Personally, I prefer it like this, because I write it twice. Negative 3 is written twice. Once I figure everything out, then I'll divide by negative 6. I'm really going to save the dividing by negative 6 till the end for this specific problem. So I know that negative 3 multiplied by negative 3 is a 9. 12 times 9, if you need to, you could do it right here. 12 times 9, elementary style. It's going to give you 108. All right, now it looks like example 1 and 2. I have a positive divided by a negative, which of course gives me a negative answer. If you need to do your division, just bring it over here. Remember, I don't worry about the signs when I do my elementary style division. I already know my answer is going to be negative. Finish your division, and you should get negative 18 for your answer. So again, when we do the evaluation, we have to be able to complete it using our order of operations. And that's that whole PEMDAS idea that we talked about last week. Ooh, we've got absolute value bars. But do you notice the absolute value bars are only for the numerator? And that's really key to see, because some students may mistakenly have the absolute value bars for all of it. And that would change the whole problem. All right, so really I'm going to go ahead and take care of the numerator. So x is a negative 4, so I write negative 4 in parentheses. I've got the absolute value bars, and then at the very end, I'm going to divide by negative 8. So remember, the parentheses, can't really do anything there, so I go to my exponents. I'm going to write it twice. Oh, let's see, let's put it over here. Skipped a step. Remember, this means negative 4 multiplied by negative 4, and that's how I got the positive 16. So for the numerator, I've got a negative 4 multiplied by 16, which does give me a negative 64. The negative 8, remember, I keep that to just the very end. All right, So this is where some students can get confused. They may try to divide first and then take the absolute value, but I'm going to go ahead and complete the numerator and say the absolute value of negative 64 is positive 64, and 64 divided by a negative 8, so positive divided by a negative, that is going to give me a negative 8 answer. So again, a lot of steps built in there, a big jump from what we've done previously to what we're doing right now. But it's all based off of skills that you should have some experience with. Substitution, order of operations, but we're now just increasing it to a 7th grade level and eventually get you closer to an 8th grade and high school level as we progress throughout our years together. All right, finding the mean. Now remember, you did this on IXL. You did the 5th grade version just to refresh your memory. Remember, to find the mean, that is really finding the average. So for this specific problem, I'm going to go ahead and find the sum of the values, and I'm going to divide it by the number of values. And that's what you should have done for the 5th grade problems. But if you noticed on the 5th grade problems, there were no negative values. It was only positive numbers. But 7th grade, we're going to go ahead and include that. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just put a big fraction line, and let's look at our values. So really, most students just kind of look at it right away instead of writing everything out. I'm okay with that. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and add my positives together first. So if I got a 12 plus a 3 plus a 1, 12 plus 3 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So let's go ahead and write it there. Now I'm going to work with my negative. So really, we are practicing lesson 1.2 right now. Oh, I should not have. Let's do a different shape. Let's do boxes. And this is what I do with the variables in 8th grade here. So I've got negative 18, negative 7, and negative 3. Now remember, I go ahead and add them all together because they're all negatives. But I like this first. I like joining the negative 7 and negative 3, which really gives me a negative 10. Then I jump over to the negative 18, which gives me a negative 28. Or I can do adding the opposite, so adding negative 28. And now my total number of values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I need to go ahead and work with adding the opposite. I already did that, so we're back to lesson 1.2. So it's a combination of 1.2 and 1.3. So a 16 adding a negative 28, those are different signs, so therefore I'm going to subtract and take the sign from the greatest absolute value. So that will give me a 12 when I subtract with a negative sign, because the negative 28 has the greatest absolute value. And then based off the new lesson today, I'm just going to finish off my division. A negative 12 divided by 6, a negative divided by a positive is a negative 2. Excellent. Remember, mean is talking about the average. So take the sum of all the values, then divide by the number of values. All right, so this one here is just a little bit different. We're going to be using the mean, but it says what number, kind of like a variable, should be added to 18, negative 4, and negative 10 to have a mean of 3. So in other words, I already know what the mean is. I'm missing just one of these numbers at the top. Now, if you notice, I'm going to have a total of 4 numbers. So according to my work, my mean should be equal to the sum of the values divided by the number of values. So make sure you're dividing by a 4 because there's 4 numbers. So if the mean is 3, I can say the answer is equal to 18 plus negative 4 plus negative 10 plus x. Some people might use an n, but the x is a great generic variable. But remember, I divide by 4. So I got to try and figure out what that x is going to be. So let's go ahead and combine what we can. So looking at the numerator, I've got a negative 4 and a negative 10. Those are like signs. So I can actually add them together to give me a negative 14. And 18 plus a negative 14, really going to subtract those. So that's going to give me a 4 plus x. All right, so at this point here, you're going to do a little bit of mental math. And you're going to ask yourself, 4 plus x, divide by 4, going to give me 3. If you'd like to, maybe you can go off to the side or even below. Let's put it below. Maybe just put a number there where x would go. So if you think like a 2 would work. Well, 4 plus 2 is a 6. 6 divided by 4, well, that doesn't give me a 3. So the question again is, what value has to go right here when I add the 4 to it, divide by 4, gives me a 3. Wait a minute. Can't we say that 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3? And if I got the 3 here, so let's make that connection. How do I get this 12 then? Yeah, some of you are like, I already knew this, Mr. Murillo. 4 plus 8 is 12. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. So therefore, x has to be equal to 8. Very nice. Let's see if it shows up. Hey, there it is. But notice how it skipped this good thinking like I put over here. That's the type of work and thinking that we're talking about. Whoa, that's it. Excellent. Now remember, you're going to be awesome. You're going to work on your assignment. You're going to upload it to a Google Classroom. All right, have a great day.